Hi, I'm Floyd Teeter, the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for the South Jordan North Shore Stake of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And as I record this in March of 2023, this seems like a good time to talk about flooding. Now, why is a talk about flooding timely? Well, our mountain snowpack exceeds 25 inches for the first time in 39 years, with more snow coming. We're starting to hear concerns from government officials and experts about flooding when temperatures warm up. In fact, many city governments are already supplying their residents with sandbags. So let's talk about flooding. When we talk about flooding in the Salt Lake area, we need to be aware of two different types of flooding. First, there's runoff flooding that occurs when the snowpack melts and water flows down the mountains. Then there's saturation flooding, when the water table may temporarily rise, and certainly when the ground is saturated to the point that house drains back up, we start to see puddles in the lawns and water seeps into basements. Both of those are prevalent in the spring, especially after a healthy winter like the one we've had this year. So let's start with the better news for most of us here in the state. We're at a minimal risk for runoff flooding. FEMA's National Flood Hazard Map for our stake, a portion of which I'm showing here, indicates we live in an area of minimal flood hazard. Take a look at the map. I've drawn a red box around the label Area of Minimal Flood Hazard. The next map is admittedly a bit of an eye chart, but it's worth squinting at. It shows the FEMA National Flood Hazard Map for the western half of South Jordan, plus the other contingent areas. And again, labels all over showing flood risk of 1% or less. While you won't want to discount the risk if you live at the bottom of a hill, I think we can confidently state that our risk of major runoff flooding is extremely low. So now let's get into saturation flooding, which is a bit more common here in Daybreak. We've had quite a bit of moisture here over the winter, so the ground is highly saturated. And to top things off, our soil here is high in clay content, so it doesn't drain water well. All that water has to go somewhere. And all too frequently, it comes in through basement windows and seeps through concrete walls to flood basements and garages. Here in Daybreak, we've all at least heard of neighbors with some extent of basement flooding. Personally, I've not had that experience, but I have loaned out my sump pump to neighbors with flooded basements on several occasions. So, how do you prepare for the risk of flooding? Well, the good news is that many of these steps will protect you from both types of flooding. If you're worried about runoff flooding in particular, the city of South Jordan already has sandbags available for city residents. You can also be on the lookout for runoff flooding near your home. If you see it, grab some sandbags. Consider investing in a portable sump pump. In our neighborhood, it's been a lifesaver. Point your rain spouts or your rain downspouts away from your home and away from your window wells if you can. Ensure your landscaping slopes away from your home. Do you have storm drain inlets near your home? Be proactive and keep them clear. On garbage day, don't let your cans block the street gutters and create a flood because the rain and the water can't flow down the gutter. Protect your property with flood insurance. Flood insurance is not included in most standard homeowner policies. Ask your agent if you have it, and if you don't, how you can get it. Document your personal property via photos or video. Have a plan for evacuation just in case. What goes with you? What stays behind? Where will your family meet? How will you communicate if you're separated? And an additional plug for one of my favorite topics that will help you if you have to evacuate quickly. Have your 72-hour pack ready to go. Know how to safely turn off electricity, gas, and water. Prepare to help those more impacted by flooding. We may not see flooding here in Daybreak, especially runoff flooding, but there will be people in Salt Lake who are highly impacted, and we should help where we can. We can volunteer to help fill and distribute sandbags. We can assist those displaced with shelter or supplies, all sorts of things you can do. So keep an eye out for that. And then finally, I wanted to give you some helpful resources. The city of South Jordan has a webpage, Understanding Flood Potential in South Jordan. And I've given you the link here. By the way, I will put all the links in the comments to this video. So don't feel like you have to frantically take screenshots or take notes off this slide. Floods, what you should know when living in Utah. It's up on Google Drive. It's a great doc. You should look at it. The FEMA flood maps, I've given you the link to where you can get those. The flood maps that I showed in this presentation, I got them here. And then finally, FEMA has a very nice write-up on flood insurance. And you should go take a look at that. It's got a lot of helpful hints in there that are really valuable. And so that's it. I've pretty much shared my thoughts on flood risk and how to prepare. Why don't you share yours with your family and your friends so we can all be prepared together? And until next time, be safe, be smart, and be ready.